Hi everyone, my name is Brittany Adams. I am currently wrapping up my second year teaching. I'm the elementary STEM teacher at Lincoln Charter School, which is located in New York City. I enjoy STEM education because I love how it reaches all students. It lets students show off their creative talents while also helping them build the skills that they need to solve complex problems that will help them be successful citizens. A little bit about me: I am a huge Disney fan. Disney World is my favorite place to be. My students know that I am a huge Toy Story fan, but that my favorite character is definitely Stitch. Aside from Disney, I also love spending time at the beach. My family is very important to me, and I have a 6-year-old nephew who I love spending time with. When I have free time, I love baking, especially cupcakes. I also love reading, running, and creating things. After this week's content and through my experience, I believe that STEM education is an integrated and interdisciplinary approach to learning that is student-centered and encourages creativity, collaboration, and problem-solving through hands-on experiences. The National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine highlighted the idea of the interconnectedness of science, technology, engineering, and math. These relationships are important for students because it helps them understand that to be an engineer, you also need to use science, math, and technology to solve problems, just like scientists also need to understand math, engineering, and technology to be successful. All of these are connected, and so they should also be taught that way. The textbook also explains how true STEM integration should focus on real-world connections so students can see how what they're learning in the classroom goes beyond school. In my classroom, my students and I are extremely lucky because we have access to a large variety of STEM equipment. One specific unit that I did this year with my 5th graders that I was particularly proud of worked with a robotics kit called Hummingbird Bit. After learning how to use these kits and learning about and discussing animatronics, my students were given the task of designing their own animatronic for a noun theme amusement park ride. Here you can see some of the examples that my students created. We have a panda bear, a light up unicorn, a haunted house, and a robotic version of myself. After reading about the STEM practices, I felt that this project incorporated some aspects of all STEM areas. The students were required to use block programming to program the various components of the Hummingbird kit, like the lights, the motors, and the sensors that they used, which ties into computational thinking, which is categorized as both a science and an engineering concept. The students were also required to define the problem of designing an animatronic noun-themed ride. Prior to building, they also had to plan out what materials they would need and where their various robotic components would go. After they planned, they had to actually create and design their solution, and then once they had built it, they were responsible for sharing their creation with their peers while also reflecting on what worked well and what could be improved. Technology was incorporated because they learned how to use a new technology of the Hummingbird kits, and they also had to apply this new knowledge to solve a problem. And then math was incorporated because they had to persevere with problems that arose, especially with the code, and they had to deal particularly with degrees for their specific motors and the rotation of the motors. I believe that STEM education is important because, as Neil deGrasse Tyson explains, being STEM literate helps develop skills in students that will be required for in-demand and high-paying jobs. It not only builds an understanding of the content areas, but it also helps develop innovation and problem-solving skills, which are key skills that employers look for. It also helps students develop passions for these content areas early on, whereas they may not be as interested if the math or science or engineering is taught in a traditional siloed manner. The textbook also explains that real-world connections help students develop a deeper understanding of the content that they are learning because they can see how it relates to the real world and how they can use it beyond just their classroom walls. It also helps students develop their creativity, their critical thinking, their collaboration, and communication. I am super excited for this course because I can already tell that I'm going to gain a lot of knowledge that I can take directly back to my classroom. I have 2 main goals for this course. The first is to develop a better understanding of how to integrate all STEM areas into units, specifically focusing on math and science. I would also like to become better at assessing STEM learning throughout the process, not just at the end. But I am really excited for this class, and I look forward to learning more about integrative STEM.